குட் ஆஃப்டர்நூன்பா. கொஞ்சம் வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க. ஒரு கெஸ்ட் லெக்சர் வந்துருவாரு, வந்தோடனே ஆரம்பிச்சிடும். சரிங்களா? சுமுதர்
சார் சொல்லுங்க சார்.
ஓகே, கேக்குதாப்பா? ஓகேப்பா. ஸோ வாய்ஸ் வந்து ஆடிபிள் அப்படின்னு கன்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணதான் கால் பண்ணோம். இந்த வருவார். சரிங்களா? வந்தோடனே ஆரம்பிச்சு.
ஓகே சார்.
குட் ஆஃப்டர்நூன் சார்.
Yeah, good evening.
வெயிட் சார். தின்னணும் சார்.
Yeah. I'm
sir.
coming.
Okay.
நம்ம ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் ஓரளவு வந்துட்டாங்களா ரமேஷ் சார்?
வந்திருக்காங்க சார். ஒரு 26, 27 இருக்காங்க சார். கண்டினியூஸா வந்துட்டு தான் இருக்காங்க சார். வந்துடுவாங்க சார். in 2 or 3 minutes mostly above 50 ரீச் ஆயிரும் சார். சார் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடலாம் சார்.
Let me know when to start.
Wait sir.
Start பண்ணிடலாமா?
Start பண்ணிடலாம் சார்.
Good evening to all of you. It's my great pleasure to welcome Mr. Asir Ahmed, chief guest of today's function, who is going to deliver the guest lecture on e-mobility. And just I would like to introduce him as an experienced team leader with a demonstrated history of working in EV development and edge tech industry, skilled in techno management and product development, with a strong technology professional focused on mechatronics, robotics, and automation approach, which is the need of our today's environment. co-founded an EV startup offering EV conversion kits and services, now contributing as skill development director for Skillsource Edge Tech. Actually, is a Formula student team alumni as part of the design and development of utility electric vehicles, holds research experience in renewable energy and e-mobility sector, EV expert and guest speaker for a wide number of engineering cum research institutions, including reputed institutes like NITs and IITs, represented India in EV sector for various international conferences and conclaves across the globe, mentoring renewable and mobility solution startups, technical inspector for technology events, consultant for age tech startups and skill development platforms, and has delivered sessions for TUQ, Atal FTP, TUQIP. So really, we are very fortunate to have such an eminent personality with us today. So I hand over the session to you, sir.
Yeah, very good evening to all. I hope everyone is doing well and safe. And thanks for giving us the opportunity for this program. So if you can kindly, allow screen sharing for me, it will be, I'll present my screen while speaking.
No, sir.
Yes, I can share my screen. I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yeah, visible, visible.
Yes. So, as we start today's discussion and program, so let me, first of all, thank the management of SRM Vallamai Engineering College for giving us the opportunity for this program. And, as we see today's program is, to make you aware about, what is the skill development need and how you can actually direct your skills towards the upcoming technology, trending technology like electric vehicles, renewable energy, right? So skill gap is a major problem facing in India, and this problem got aggravated with this COVID-19 pandemic and long lockdown. You see, many of freshers, many of the students, those who took admission, they are still attending the classes online. So they have not got that exposure of on-campus learning and understanding and getting the concepts clear and all these things. So there's a huge skill gap that will emerge in coming time as well. So that is why we should actually understand this and plan our things accordingly, right? And I'm glad to say that I'm also an alumni of SRM University, Katan Kulatur. I completed my mechatronics engineering from SRM University. So from that time itself, we were involved in electric vehicles, solar electric vehicles, renewable energy and all. And recently, I got a chance to deliver alumni talk at our university. So, coming back to our discussion, so I'll quickly introduce what is a Skillshark, what we are doing, and then quickly we'll head towards the topic. So Skillshark is an edutech, startup focused on upskilling towards the trending technologies. So we are on a mission to upskill millions. So we have a clear vision to bridge the skill gap between the modern day learners and the workforce that is required for the future. So we are working with engineering colleges for skill development, for center of excellence, for internship job opportunities, for R&D projects. With schools, we are working with child prodigy programs, Vedic mathematics, flashcard apps, robotics projects, and all. Today itself, we had a session with Cambridge International School for the future of transportation as electric vehicle. And yeah, so our focus has been on the three trending technologies: electric vehicles, renewable energy, and mechatronics engineering. We have this platform called Explorica Motorsports and Engineering, which you can visit on our website in order to explore the tech teams, their events, what events they are participating in, and the journey of different racers and race engineers, right? And you can also explore various innovations from different parts of the world in our Explorica innovation platform that is available online on our YouTube as well as on our website. So we have hosted for all the esteemed institutions, organizations in India. We have MOUs international as well in order to promote, foster skills, innovation, employability. So in person, I have visited more than 100 plus universities for electric vehicle programs as a guest speaker, keynote speaker, and all. So yeah, so let's get back to the topic and start our discussion with regards to electric vehicles. So when we talk about electric vehicles or when we talk about automobiles, these things comes under category of our transportation system, right? So in order to understand the transportation system, it is very essential for us to know what is the present status of our automotive sector. So Indian automobile sector is the fourth largest in the world and having annual turnover of around $100 billion. It is employing 32 million people presently, right? And in terms of our products, two-wheelers, tractors, and commercial vehicles, these are the key products of our Indian automobile industry. So as a GDP contribution also, our automotive industry, our automotive sector is actually contributing a significant amount. So presently, if we see the statistic, if we see the data of 2020 start, like from Jan till March 2020, we can easily say that our automotive sector was at a very good pace, at a very good level. Now because of COVID, we are having few challenges that we need to overcome, that we need to actually overcome, right? So as I told, about electric vehicles or automobile or automotive, these things are related to our transportation. So can someone from the participant and can define what is transportation system? Yes, what is transportation system? Yes, we have so many participants. You can definitely speak. You can respond. What is transportation system?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I think a combination of elements and their interactions, sir.
Okay. So let me.
Which produces a demand for travel.
Right. So let me tell one thing here. With regards to these kind of webinars, these kind of sessions, skill development program or webinars or something like that, the whole essence is to motivate you towards the new technologies and to make you think out of the box. What do I mean by making you think out of the box is we should actually understand. You see, you people are undergoing a full-fledged course, of BTech, BE, whatever it is, on mechanical, electrical. You're having so many subjects in your curriculum and all. So you're spending complete 4 years on learning the technology and things, then these kind of webinars of 1 hour, 40 minutes or 30 minutes, you should actually understand the agenda. The agenda here is to make you think out of the box. Let me give you an example. What do I mean by thinking out of the box is, so can someone tell me, if I'm traveling from, let's suppose if I'm traveling from Changalpattu to Chennai Central, right? Then we'll use a quantity to define the whether how far or how close these two places are. We'll use a quantity called distance, right? To define how far or how close these two places are. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so you can respond, don't hesitate to respond, right? We are not going to give you any punishment or something like that, right? So here we use distance. So if I divide distance by time,
That is velocity or speed.
speed, okay. Then if I divide speed by time,
Time, acceleration.
acceleration.
Yes.
Again, I divide acceleration by time.
Right.
See, that is what is needed. When iPhone 5 comes, people will wait. When iPhone 6 will come, eagerly they will wait, right? Similar approach we should have when our faculties, they have taught us till distance, displacement, speed, velocity, acceleration. What is next after acceleration? That should come, that zeal should come from within ourselves. And that is why we have today's program, in order to make you think out of the box and realize that there are huge opportunities, and this is a golden time where you can spend your precious time in upskilling and getting the thorough knowledge about topics, getting your concepts clear, right? So yeah, so when we divide acceleration by time, there is a vector quantity called jerk that exists, right? So yeah, so we will be, okay, we'll be taking 1 minute break here. So you might be getting some voice in the background. We'll take 1 minute break here. Let that this thing happen, azan happen. We'll continue. Just 1 minute break.
Okay, okay.
Yes, thank you for your cooperation. So what we were discussing?
That is a acceleration with respect to time, finally.
Yes. So when we divide acceleration divided by time, we get a vector quantity called jerk, right? There's a vector quantity called jerk. Again, if we divide jerk by time, there is also one quantity. So like that, there should be enthusiasm, there should be interest in you in order to explore things around you, right? So we were talking about the transportation system. From that, we actually got diverted here to this jerk. So yeah, so we were discussing that the transportation industry is actually related to movement using vehicles from one place to another place. So we do transportation of people, transportation of animals, transportation of goods, transportation of medical services, whatever things we do with regards to movement, right? Then in today's time, using the transportation system, passengers are utilizing for moving from one place to another place. The medical services like ambulances are functioning. Then freight services, like we are sending the logistic goods, we are sending the parcels, couriers from one place to another place. So that's how our transportation industry functions. So there are different modes of transportation, right? Can you name few of the modes of transportation? Yes.
Air, that's a
Yes.
road, air road,
Yes.
and pipeline.
Yes.
Water.
Waterways, yes. So airways, railways, roadways, waterways, cable waves, then pipeline, spaceways, these are the different modes of transportation. So if we have proper modes of transportation, what will be the end result? So if we have proper modes of transportation, we will be having a good impact, positive or good impact on our economy, our planning of the cities, or our urban rural planning, as well as on our environment. So for what are the things required for rigid transportation system or good transportation system, or what I say, perfect transportation system? So any transportation system will need these four elements: infrastructure, vehicles, operation and policies. Infrastructure, vehicles, operation and policies. So when we want to convert, or when we want to make electric vehicles come into our transportation industry, transportation system, or when we want to make India e-mobility nation, then we need to work on creating these four elements: infrastructure, vehicles, operation and policies. So if we have infrastructure like proper road system, proper signaling system, charging station, commercial charging station, energy power plants, all these things, right, that are required for electric vehicles, then we can have one element, that is infrastructure for electric vehicles. Then the second thing, we need vehicles itself: electric two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, commercial vehicles, electric buses, etc., etc. Then we need proper operations of these vehicles in infrastructure. Then we need proper policies for electric vehicles, or the vehicles to function. So how many of you have read Tamil Nadu EV policy? How many of you have read Tamil Nadu EV policy?
Mm,
So definitely, whenever you find time, you can go through Tamil Nadu EV policy, right? They have described the roadmap for Tamil Nadu in a very well manner in the policy draft, in the policy, the document, right? So, are you aware about any electric vehicle company from Tamil Nadu, or any company that is there in Tamil Nadu for electric vehicles?
no, sir. I don't have any idea.
Others also can respond. You see, only one person means it is injustice. Everyone should respond.
Yes, sir.
Ajmal Hassan, Mohan Krishna. I can see only few names that I'm able to see. I'm calling their names. Yes, participants
Yes,
feel
sir.
free to interact. Ether, yes, Ether.
Nani
Okay.
Connect private limited.
Ether. Okay. Ether Energy. Apart from Ether Energy, G Aswin, Mohana Prasad. Yes, in any. you might have come across so many companies products. When you move out from one place to another place, you'll be seeing so many things happening now in India, specifically in Tamil Nadu. Electric bicycles are there, electric rickshaws are there, so many things are also there functioning. Do you know any electric rickshaw company from Tamil Nadu?
Try Electric Private Limited.
Any other? See, as a first step that we should, know, that is our about our local initiatives, right? So you should definitely, after today's webinar, you should go search about Tamil Nadu EV policy first. Then you should explore about the different startups, companies, manufacturers of electric vehicles in Tamil Nadu, right? At least those who are from Chennai, there are so many startups in Chennai, right? Incubated, or even they are working full-fledged. Any idea about that? Into one startup or one company from one segment, that is also good. Like if you tell electric vehicle, electric bicycle company one, electric scooter company one, electric rickshaw company one, like that also it is fine. But you should be aware about these things. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So yeah, so here how we actually classify our automobiles is, based, the first category or the first thing to consider for classification is the use. For what purpose we are using our vehicle, whether we are using it for our personal transport or freight or logistic or whatever it is. Then comes the capacity, right? Capacity. Then what is capacity thing? Capacity things includes the load capacity as well as passenger capacity. Load capacity as well as passenger capacity. What is this load capacity? Like 1000 kg, 1 ton, 1.5 ton, whatever it is, like that. And the passenger capacity, single seater, two seater, three seater, six seater, whatever it is. So based on the use means where we are going to use our vehicles, right? Based on the use, then based on the capacity. Third is based on the make and model. Make and model includes who is the manufacturer, what is the model. Then based on the fuel used means based on the fuel. What are the different types of fuel? What are the different types of fuels?
Petrol,
Yes, petrol, diesel.
diesel,
Yes,
coal.
diesel.
yeah, petrol, diesel, CNG. Depending on that, the fuel. Battery is also one type of fuel we can consider.
White
Battery.
petrol.
Yeah, so petrol, diesel, CNG, like that, the fuel used we can classify. Then depending on body style, hatchback or sedan, based on the wheels, two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, six-wheeler, based on the drive system, front-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, based on the transmission, whether it is automatic, manual, we can classify. So why we need to understand the classification is, now when we want to make our transportation system electric, or when we want to make India electric, there are so many products: electric two-wheeler, electric three-wheeler, electric four-wheeler of different capacities, different manufacturers and all. We should analyze and understand what is the key requirement where we can easily, accessibly, and in a very productive way, we can go for electrification of that particular segment. So here, for example, we can use electric bicycle for in-campus mobility. We can use electric vehicle, electric rickshaws for shared mobility, like that. Then we can go for logistics, where we know, like electric three-wheeler, electric four-wheeler for logistic, like for Amazon, for delivery, like that. So these are the areas where electric vehicles, like electric two-wheelers, electric three-wheelers, and electric vehicle for logistic. These are the areas where we can easily, immediately fit electric vehicles, and it is easy to get the results also, because for in-campus mobility, we know the route, we know the infrastructure and all. Then for logistic also we know, because these companies, they will be going around 80 to 100 kilometer per day of travel. So like that, there is no much complexity in range, in the battery operation and all these things. So that is why we should understand the classification. And now after understanding the classification, we should understand the challenges. What is the key challenge? So, when we are talking about electric vehicles, how we are going to charge electric vehicles? How we charge electric vehicles? Yes, Ashwin, Ramesh.
So electrical power,
to
current.
Current. So from where we are getting current?
power plants.
Or
Power plant. How we are generating power in power plant?
like thermal power plant and diesel power plant and windmill.
So 90% of power, 80 to 90% of power in India is generated through which mode? Coal-based power plant, thermal power plant, right?
Thermal power plant.
Yes. So thermal power plant. You see now, we are using electric vehicles for what? To reduce pollution. Again, in thermal power plant, we are going to pollute the environment, right? So that is why the first challenge that we need to overcome is having renewable energy resources for producing power or producing energy. So let me tell you, every country now is actually working for producing or going renewable, going for renewable energy. You see, in India also now, in the government is focusing on renewable energy, renewable investment and other things. So this is the first thing that we need to understand. Another thing, before knowing much about electric vehicles, we should understand how the government is supporting towards electric vehicles. So are you aware about the various initiatives by the government? Like the government is supporting e-mobility startups by giving some budget, by giving some schemes and other things. And another news that came in 2019 was the blueprint is ready for 10 million e-mobility jobs by Government of India. Also, the Niti Aayog's Department of Government of India is planning to sell only electric vehicles by 2030. And if we see the union budget of 2019 and the recent union budget, the electric vehicles have got a good attention. So from that, we can easily say that electric vehicles will be having a great future in India. Right. So are you aware about National Electric Mobility Mission Plan? National Electric Mobility Mission Plan. Yes. Are you aware about National Electric Mobility Mission Plan?
No, sir.
Zero emission concept.
Right. So here, the government of India.
Zero emission concept.
Pardon?
Zero emission concept.
Not specifically. It is in line with the zero emission concept, but the government of India, in 2013-14 they launched a mission plan called National Electric Mobility Mission Plan, NEMMP 2020, National Electric Mobility Mission Plan 2020, in order to sell 6 to 7 million hybrid and electric vehicles to save the fuel, to reduce the pollution, and to create direct and indirect jobs. So this was the mobility mission plan. And in order to achieve this plan, the government of India launched another scheme called FAME India, Faster Adoption and Manufacturing of Hybrid and Electric Vehicles, FAME India. So the FAME scheme was launched in two phases. So first phase was from 15 to 2019, and the second phase started from 2019. It will be probably lasting till 2022. Few of the news and updates are that this timeline of phase 2 might get extended because of the ongoing things of COVID pandemic and other things. But yeah, the few things are yet to be confirmed. So yeah, so this is faster adoption and manufacturing of hybrid and electric vehicles, to encourage the adoption of electric and hybrid vehicles by giving incentives on purchase of electric vehicles, to support electric two-wheelers, electric three-wheelers, four-wheelers, and electric buses, and to encourage the establishment of charging station, in a grid of 3 kilometer to 3 kilometer, right? So this was done by the government by providing, as I said, incentives on purchase of the electric two-wheelers, electric rickshaws, electric four-wheeler, hybrid four-wheeler, and electric buses. Right. So apart from National Electric Mobility Mission Plan, apart from FAME India, industry associations like Society of Manufacturers of Electric Vehicle, Leadership in Energy and Environment Design, Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, these associations are actually working very effectively for encouraging electric vehicles and adoption of electric vehicles. So with regards to the data, if you need how many electric vehicles are there, what is the pollution control happening, how is the carbon emissions going down, all these data you can find on their website in order to as a research study or something survey if you're actually going, or if you want to explore, right? So yeah, the next key question from my end is, when the concept of electric vehicle started, what do you think, when the EV concept, or when the first electric vehicle was made? Yes. When the first electric vehicle was made? Hello, am I audible?
No, sir.
I think
Yes, sir.
1890.
Yes,
Sorry,
you can guess
1890.
also. You can guess also, no problem.
1890s, I think.
No, actually before that also.
Before that.
So somewhere around 1830 to 1835, there are so many, data and so many things available. But the rigid data that is available in most of the books and references is 1835 with an American scientist. 1835, American scientist who developed this electric carriage, and from that the acceleration for electric vehicle concept took place, and several developments happen in hybrid category, fuel cell category in 1965 77. In 1977 there was one oil crisis that happened that led to the boost of electric vehicles. Then 1992 the Toyota introduces its first electric vehicle in Japan, then hybrid fuel cell vehicle, then Toyota's first model or the first generation of Prius came in 1997, the first Prius hybrid vehicle introduced in Japan in 1997. Then 2002, the first hydrogen fuel cell vehicles were released in Japan and US. Yeah, then 2007, 9, 11, these are the key years for hybrid vehicles, because 1 million, 2 million, 3 million sales happened during these years of 2007 to 2011. And then after 10, 11, 12, several developments happened. Many electric three-wheelers, four-wheelers, startups and companies came into existence. And now electric buses are also there running on various cities and in various premises, right? Then year 2010 is very essential, very key year for EV industry. Can you tell me why year 2010 was very important? Yes. Any guess?
I think pollution, sir. Pollution and fuel cost is very.
Actually, that is also there. The key thing is the Tesla's entry and the Tesla's tie up with the stakeholder, right? Let me show you here. You can see Tesla teams up with Toyota to produce electric cars. So that year accelerated various e-mobility startups. Many companies started focusing on production, as well as coming up with mobility solutions, right? So that is how the whole evolution of electric vehicle happened. So now let's try to understand the difference between electric vehicle and gasoline vehicle, right? Then we'll see the different types of electric vehicles and in detail, and we'll go for a question answer session. right? So when we compare electric vehicle and gasoline vehicle, so how you can differentiate? Can someone give me some points here? Yes.
So regarding pollution, we can reduce in case of electric. So there will be less pollution. It's main point.
Okay, then.
We don't need internal combustion engine for electric vehicle.
Right, then. Then. So let me show you. So when we compare electric vehicle and gasoline, so the first thing is there will be no tailpipe emissions in electric vehicle, right? Whereas in gasoline vehicle, the tailpipe emissions will be there, that will be leading to greenhouse gases and pollution. The second thing is for electric vehicle, we need to depend on utility companies. Whereas for gasoline vehicle, we need to depend on offshore companies, oil producing companies. Then the third thing is that we have a problem of range anxiety or limited range in electric vehicle, right? And the electric vehicles will take hours to charge or hours to recharge, right? Whereas in gasoline vehicle, the we can increase the range by filling the petrol or diesel, and that will take only few minutes. So this problem of range anxiety, this, I think someone's mic is on, so it's so this problem of range anxiety can be solved by technologies like fast charging station and battery swapping station. So have you heard about fast charging station and battery swapping station? Yes, have you heard about fast charging station or battery swapping station?
Yeah, only sorry, charge station.
Okay, so in charging station also there are three categories: level 1 charging, level 2 charging, and DC fast charging. Level 1, level 2 uses AC supply for charging, whereas this is DC fast charging uses DC supply, right? High voltage DC supply. So yeah, so one way how to solve the problem of range anxiety or limited range for electric vehicles is to go for fast charging station. Another best way is also to go for battery swapping stations, where in 1 or 2 minutes you will swap your battery and you will go ahead. So here there should be a proper maintenance arrangement and organization plus management of the batteries properly, and there should be standards and where a person is going to battery swapping station doing the swap and moving ahead. So here presently the battery swapping is very viable, easy to execute and feasible for electric two-wheelers, electric three-wheelers. Presently in India we can see electric rickshaws, electric scooters getting battery swapping stations. They are going to battery swapping, they are swapping the battery. So like that. So there is a company called Sun Mobility in India from Bangalore that introduced this concept very effectively, and presently they have deployed the battery swapping station in association with Indian Oil in Delhi NCR region as well, specifically in Chandigarh. Right? There is a very well-known company in auto, electric auto retrofitting, new electric auto in Chennai, based out of Chennai. I was expecting an answer from your end. You should be aware about this thing. Hmm. Any idea? Any guess? Any idea or any guess? Okay, I'll tell you about that thing at the end. I'll tell you about that thing at the end. So here in electric, there will be no tailpipe emission. We need to depend on utility companies. One key point that is there for electric vehicles is the operational economics, the cost of running an electric vehicle. So operational economics for electric vehicle is very, very nice, very, very good, very, very perfect. You see, we need to spend only 2 cents per mile, whereas for gasoline vehicle, we need to spend 12 cents per mile. So in electric vehicle there will be motor, there will be controller, there will be batteries, there will be charger. Whereas in gasoline the pump, the fuel tank will be there, the engine will be there. So here in electric vehicle we can see the high voltage battery pack will be there. This will be connected to the controller. Controller will be connected to motor. Motor will be connected to transmission. And controller will be connected to charger, and controller will also be connected to a 12-volt auxiliary battery that we will use for horns, brake lights, headlights, etc. And what is this? What is this? Yes.
Brake.
This is what? This is accelerator. This is throttle, pedal, or accelerator. That actually works on the concept of potentiometer, and it gives the variable voltage. That's how we can vary the speed, right? So yeah, so let me take you through the operational economics by doing one simple small calculation. Let me share my screen again, where you will be able to give the answers here. Are you able to see my screen? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So now I need one person who will be giving some kind of inputs here. So Ramesh, Mr. Ramesh, you will be giving
Yes,
the
sir.
inputs here. Okay. So let's suppose Mr. Ramesh is there. He is having 5,000 rupees. 5,000 Indian rupees. And he's having 3 cars. One is electric car, another is petrol car, third is diesel car. So what is the the electric car is Renault Nissan, or yeah, we can consider Renault Nissan, not a problem. So this electric car gives a range of, it gives a range of 120 kilometer with consumption of 24 kilowatt hour of battery. 120 kilometer with 24 kilowatt hour of battery. Then what is the mileage of a petrol car? Approximate mileage of a petrol car?
18 to 20. Sorry, 16 to 20.
16 kilometer per liter. Then what is the mileage of diesel car?
That is maybe 20.
Yes. 20 kilometer per liter. Right? Now Mr. Ramesh is there. He is having 5,000 rupees. He is having 3 cars. He is having 5,000 rupees and 3 cars. Electric car that gives a range of 120 kilometer with 24 kilowatt hour of battery. For your knowledge, I will tell you 1 kilowatt hour is nothing but 1 unit of electricity. You are aware about this thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So here what we will do is this. So now Mr. Ramesh can either use his electric car, his petrol car, or his diesel car, right? So now let's try to understand the petrol price, diesel price, and the electricity price. So what is 1 unit of electricity price in your area?
I think 5 rupees, I think.
5 rupees?
1 unit.
5 rupees.
Yeah,
1 unit. Then
5 rupees.
Yeah, then 1 liter of diesel, 1 liter of petrol.
1 liter of petrol now 93.
93 rupees. And 1 liter of diesel?
85.
Is 85. So now, if you have 5,000 rupees, how many units of electricity you can buy?
Divided by the, sorry, 100. Sorry. 1000.
Yes.
Sorry.
1,000 units, right?
Yes.
And
1000.
1,000 units. And how many liters of petrol you can buy?
Sorry.
Yes, tell me. Any doubt?
No, sir. 53.
Yes. Then 53 liter.
Yes, sir.
53, right? 53 you said.
Yes.
53 liter. Then about diesel?
58.
Okay. Now, let's suppose you have 5,000 rupees, so you can buy these 58 liter, 53 liter, 1,000 units. Now, we'll see one by one case. Let's suppose you are going for driving your electric car or diesel or a petrol car. So let's suppose first think you're using your diesel car. So 5,000 rupees, if you are purchasing 5,000 rupees of diesel and you are having your diesel car, here we'll not consider our maintenance cost. I'll go about maintenance cost in the next thing, in the next slide. Okay, so before that, without maintenance, so how many kilometer you can run your diesel car?
Uh, 1160.
What about your petrol car?
Uh, 848.
848. What about your electric car? Electric car gives 120 kilometer for 24 units. For 1,000 units, how many kilometer? Cross multiplication.
Okay. 1200.
Yes.
Enter 1200, sir. What?
Pardon?
So 1,20,000, sir.
No,
Sorry.
check it. Check it.
Yes. Sorry, sir.
Don't hurry. Take your time.
Uh,
One 120 kilometer with 24 units. How many kilometers with 1,000 units? Yes.
Sorry, sir. 120 kilometer.
With 24 units. How many kilometer with 1,000 units?
Oh, yes. Wait. 24,000.
Check it properly.
5,000.
5.
Yes.
5,000. Sorry.
Right. It's
Yes,
just a
sir,
cross multiplication. 121 kilometer with 24 units. With 1,000 units, how many kilometer? Any doubt? No, right?
No, yes, sir. Correct.
So just understand, with the same investment of 5,000 rupees, you can go 5,000 kilometer. You see? Are you able to understand? That is why here we have written 2 cents per mile and 12 cents per mile. Right? So we can save a lot of money during the operation of our electric vehicles. And another thing I was talking about the maintenance. So in petrol or diesel car, there will be around 2000 moving components. There will be around 2000 moving components. Okay, whereas in electric vehicle, electric car, electric vehicle, there will be only about 20 moving components. So moving components, when they become less, the maintenance become very less, because the maintenance will be there because of the moving parts, right? So that's how electric vehicles are very best in terms of operational economics. So I will quickly explain you the difference between gasoline, electric and hybrid and plug-in hybrid. So then we'll go for the Q&A very quickly. So electric vehicles are classified into three types. The first is battery electric vehicle, the second is hybrid electric vehicle, the third is plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. This hybrid electric vehicle is again divided into three categories: series hybrid, second is the parallel hybrid, and the third is, sorry for the spelling mistake, third is combined hybrid. Right, so everyone is clear with this? Electric vehicle divided into three categories: battery electric vehicle, hybrid electric vehicle and plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, right? Any doubt? Yes, so let's understand. So in gasoline vehicle, how the gasoline vehicle will be functioning is, let me share my screen via the full mode presentation so that it will be easy for you. In gasoline vehicle, there will be a fuel filler through which we are filling the fuel. This fuel will get stored into the fuel tank. From the fuel tank, it will be pumped through the fuel lines to fuel injection system. Then it will enter the engine, internal combustion engine, and the engine will be controlled by electronic control module. So engine will produce power and torque. This power and torque will be transmitted via the transmission system to the drive shaft, and the drive shaft will be moving and the wheels will be moving and the car will be moving. So this is about the gasoline vehicle. Here the auxiliary battery is for horns, headlights and auxiliary systems like brake lights, for power windows and all. So this is the gasoline vehicle. Here there is no high voltage battery, there is no high power motor at all. Okay, everyone is clear? Then comes the electric vehicle. In electric vehicle, there will be no engine at all, there will be no fuel tank, there will be a battery pack. This is high voltage battery pack, traction battery pack. There will be a motor. Battery will not be connected to motor directly, it will be connected through controller. This controller is made up of power electronic circuits, that is why it is called power electronic controller. So battery, motor, controller. Then we have charger, onboard charger. So this charger will be there. Through this charger, the battery will be charged. So we should supply the power to the charger. So using the charge port, we will be supplying the power to the charger. So now energy will be stored into this battery. From the battery, it will come to motor via controller, and then motor will produce power and torque that will be transmitted via the transmission system to the drive shaft. Okay, then the charging will happen through the charge port to the onboard charger and to the battery. This auxiliary battery is for low voltage, 12 volt, like that, for headlights, horn and other things. Thermal system is for cooling. DC-DC converter is for stepping down the high voltage of the battery pack to the low voltage for charging this auxiliary battery. Yeah, so all right, so this is about the electric vehicle. Everyone is clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So now first we saw the hybrid vehicle, first we saw the gasoline vehicle, then we saw the electric vehicle. Now in electric vehicle, there is a battery, motor, controller, charger, whereas in gasoline vehicle, there is a fuel tank, engine, right? So if we combine both the things, it becomes the hybrid electric vehicle. Hybrid electric vehicle, where there is a fuel filler, fuel tank, engine, there is a battery, motor, controller, everything. But one thing you can note down here is, in hybrid electric vehicle, there is no charge port and there is no onboard charger. Everyone is clear? Everyone is clear? Yes. So this is hybrid electric vehicle. So first we saw the gasoline, then we saw electric, then we saw the hybrid. Now in the same hybrid where battery motor controller is there, fuel tank charger is there. If we add the charge port and onboard charger, if we add charge port and onboard charger, it becomes plug-in hybrid vehicle. It becomes plug-in hybrid vehicle, right? So this is all about the different types of electric vehicle. So in coming time, in coming days, there will be huge demand for electric vehicles. Talking about that is there in today's time, right? And if we see the scope for electric vehicle, there is a huge scope for electric vehicles in coming days, as we see the huge interest of people because of the rising prices of petrol and diesel, right? Am I right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
So we have taken multiple initiatives in order to make people aware about the trending technologies like electric vehicle and other things. So from our end, we are collaborating with multiple institutions, education centers, in order to make more and more people aware about electric vehicle technology. And because we have our own initiatives for electric vehicles and manufacturing of electric vehicles, manufacturing of batteries, manufacturing of other equipments related to electric vehicles. But honestly, I would like to share this fact that we can we can establish charging station, we can bring electric vehicles, but in today's time there is no skilled workforce present or available. With investments we can get charging infrastructure. With investments we can get electric vehicles, but if we have money also, we cannot generate skilled workforce in one night or in 1 month. So that requires proper understanding, proper structure planning for skilled workforce. That is why we are conducting several awareness free webinars, training program, paid courses and other things, in order to motivate more and more people to learn about electric vehicles. So these are the few of the glimpses from our recent program, where we converted one ambassador into electric. And this is our center of excellence for electric vehicles, center of excellence for our electric vehicles in Hyderabad. We recently conducted one program with one college here in Tamil Nadu, Chennai, and we have kept doing programs with the several state governments as well. So this is the old ambassador, and it's a retrofitted ambassador that we converted recently in Chennai during our program few days back, around 8 to 10 days back. Yeah. So yeah, if you are interested in learning more about the things about electric vehicles and all, there is one course available with discount on our website, www.skillshark.online. I'll share the link also in the chat box. You can definitely explore and try to enroll if you are interested, right? So yeah, so now those who are having any questions or something, we can definitely go for it. We can yeah, we can discuss.
Any doubts in participant? Any doubts? Please ask him.
Any doubt, any question, anything that you would like to ask?
Wait, sir. Good evening to all. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this event to all dignitaries assembled here. I would like to thank our guest lecturer with his inspirational thoughts like transportation with e-system, challenges for mobility sector, future of mobility in India. So I would like to thank our beloved management, principal sir, vice principal sir, HOD, faculty members, students and participants for making this guest lecturer as a grand success. Once again, I thanks 100% here. Thank you. So do you have any doubts in the participant? Please ask him.
Thank you for your kind words, sir. It's our pleasure to have today for this interaction where we got an opportunity to discuss and interact with your students with regards to e-mobility.
Yeah, okay, sir. Dhanyanam, sir.
I have one. I have one small doubt, sir.
Yes, sir.
Suppose,
Yes, sir.
Suppose I have one car. If you
Okay.
want to convert into electric vehicle or hybrid, how much amount I have to spend?
Yes, sir. So that conversion amount actually depends on the configurations, the features that you need. Okay. For example,
Okay.
the battery that we'll be using, the age of the battery, the voltage of the battery, the power of the motor, and all. And one thing I would like to mention, if you are planning to convert that vehicle to run on road, so that will not be feasible because presently, the government is not allowing any vehicle conversion or any vehicle retrofitting as a as a product to run on road. So there are only the few startups or few companies that they have got approvals for conversion. So presently available approvals for the conversions are for Alto, for Wagoner, for Swift Desire, for Tata Ace, like that. Apart from that, many other vehicles they have not got the approvals or certification. So yeah, so but if you are willing to convert it as a project, definitely as a research project in your campus for just doing the testing in campus or something like that can be encouraged, can be done. So for that purpose, based on the configurations, for example, let's suppose if you are going for a 5 kilowatt PMSM motor, right, then a 60 volt battery pack of 100 or 90 or 100 Ah capacity. So in order to achieve a speed of somewhere around 40 to 45, the whole conversion will cost around somewhere 2.5 lakh rupees to 3 lakh rupees, right? And when it comes to the real time conversion, let's suppose if you are having one vehicle like Alto, Wagoner, Swift Desire that has got the approval from the the ARAI, ICAT and the local RTO, for that particular conversion it will be costing around 6 lakh rupees, 5 to 6 lakh rupees, because that will be road legal conversion with proper features, specifications, and everything.
Okay. Thank you. Very
Yes.
much.
So let
Sir,
me
I have.
show something. Yeah, yes, please go ahead with your doubt, no problem.
Sir, the industry will first introduce hybrid, right? Because we can't just. There are not a lot of charging stations around here, and Tesla is just planting a lot around US and other areas. So will it be
Yes.
hybrid or plug-in?
So majorly people will be not taking headache of charging station at all. So they will be going for hybrid majorly. If I show you the statistic, let me uh, show you that. Let me show you that. 1 second. I have the statistic as well. In coming days, when we are supposed to go through, the people will tend to buy electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles. In that case, 1 second. Let me share my screen again. Yes. So globally the transition will happen for all the markets, all the global EV market, the North American market, the European market, the LAMIA, Latin America, Middle East and Africa, and the Asia Pacific. So in that category the hybrid electric vehicle will be experiencing a huge surge in coming years. By 2025, hybrid electric vehicles, whereas battery electric vehicle and plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, those categories will also emerge, but subsequently and comparatively the hybrid electric vehicles, because there is no involvement of charging infrastructure, there is no charging infrastructure required. And in terms of vehicle types, passenger cars and commercial vehicles will be seeing a huge demand in coming years in terms of EV market. Whereas in Indian market, this is global EV market, whereas in Indian market the electric two wheelers will be having a huge contribution for EV adoption. right? Yeah. So, this is converted Swift Desire. It's a retrofitted Swift Desire. Are you able to see on my screen?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it's another startup of ours that we started. So, so all our co-founders, those who started this thing, all are from SRM only. Yes, any other doubt?
Is plug-in hybrid received did it receive positive reviews from the industry and outside the industry?
Yeah, plug-in hybrid, there are several categories of vehicle available. There are several categories of vehicle available. So I request you to, go through each and every category. Because of time constraint, I will quickly show you some relevant things. So in electric bicycle, these are the different electric bicycles of different companies available. In electric motorcycles, electric scooters are also there. Electric cars are there. Hybrid cars are there. So if you go for Toyota Prius or MG Hector, Suzuki Ciaz, like that, BMW i8. So few of the products of plug-in hybrid have all have shown a great response. And if we go for hybrid category, many of the manufacturers now they are turning for either complete electric vehicle or they are going for hybrid vehicle, right? So plug-in hybrid has shown a good results in terms of the usage, because the plug-in hybrid is having both the facilities. It can be operated using the conventional engine, as well as it can be recharged also, right? But based on the complexity, based on the cost parameter, based on the things, now the government wants to completely eliminate plug-in hybrid. Or hybrid is a good option, plug-in hybrid or hybrid is a good option, but again the pollution parameter will come. Again the pollution parameter will come. That is why the government's encouragement is for new electric cars. New electric cars should be there. Tata Tigor, Tata Nexon, Mahindra E2O, E-Verito, Kona. New electric cars, new electric rickshaws, new pickup trucks should be there. And one more question: are you aware about electric boat that is present in India?
No.
See, many are unaware about this fact. People should always try to explore, learn things right around us. So in India, Aditya is a solar electric boat available in India, in Kerala, India's first solar electric boat. So like that, we should always have this thing, knowledge about the things happening around us. Yes, any other question? Yes, please.
How will
Yes,
this transition affect mechanical engineering course in the future?
yeah. So, talking about the impact on the curriculum, the skilled workforce, is that in coming days, mechanical, electrical, electronics, computer, whatever branches, those who are trying to explore their career in this e-mobility sector, they need to have approach of mechatronics. They need to have mechatronics approach, where they are actually having knowledge about all the things, right? Not only the mechanical structure part, the electrical part, the sensor part, the electronics part, right? So a mechatronics approach is needed. And if you have only a particular branch knowledge, that is not going to help you out. You should have expertise in particular domain. You should be expert in particular domain, but the knowledge is required in a 360-degree approach, right? And talking about uh, you know how it is going to affect is, I have actually been to multiple platforms, multiple universities, institutes for placement as well. Not only for our own companies that we have 5 to 6 companies, not only for that, but also for other companies as well. So I have felt that students are not actually having the skill set that is required for the industry, not only for electric vehicles in general. If I ask any question with regards to how the power transmission is happening in wind turbine, or if a electrical engineer is there, if electrical engineer triple E student is there, if I ask what type of motor is used in our ceiling fan, in our our air condition AC, right, they are not able to answer, they are not able to give the proper answer. Why we use capacitor in ceiling fan, they are not able to answer. So the practical approach, the practical application wise, students are not equipped. That is why the students have to listen to their faculties, their advisors, and what the institute is actually trying to encourage you to learn more things and have the proper approach. Otherwise it is seriously going to affect in terms of employment. Everyone will love to have the skilled workforce in their company. Yes, any other question? All right, I think we can conclude the session, sir.
Sir, Thinnanum sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful session. Really,
question.
it gives. Tell me.
Yes, please. Any
What
question,
kind
please?
of softwares do you use?
Pardon?
What sort of softwares do you use for your
Yes. All right, I got your question. So, with regards to simulations that we perform, the simulations that we perform for electrical system and all, right? So we use multiple platforms. So basic design that we do, the basic design that we perform in SolidWorks and 3D experience. SolidWorks and 3D experience, right? And when it comes to the analysis, depending on the structure and depending on the things, we go for ANSYS. There are multiple other softwares also. Star CCM is there, and yeah, so likewise. So depending on a particular application, we go for that. And when it comes to the electrical system simulation and other things, we do the primary simulation, primary modeling in MATLAB for our BMS and other things that we have to actually analyze, right? Then specifically that the softwares that are available for PCB designing or controller design, we go for that as per the, let's suppose if I'm planning to manufacture my things in from China. So from China, the software compatibility that they are working with for PCB design or for my controller design, so we need to give the inputs in that way. So based on that, we prefer. But for our thing, for primary simulations for electrical system, we go for MATLAB Simulink. And other circuit softwares are also there. Eagle is there, Proteus is there. And for mechanical 3D experience, SolidWorks, CATIA, ANSYS, these are majorly used.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your wonderful lecture, sir. Thank you. With this, we'll conclude this. Huh?
Sure, sir. Thank you. Take care. All the best. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Shall I go
Thank
to
you.
end the meeting, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.